everybody, Miss Westwood here, and this is my introduction to time signatures. Now this video has been made with beginners in mind, so they might be beginners at their instruments or beginners reading music. Being able to read and understand a time signature is a very important part of being a musician. So let's get to it.
Music lessons with Miss Westwood. Yay!
A time signature is something we use in music to help us organize our notes. The time signature is shown at the beginning of the piece and is written often as two numbers, one on top of the other. The two numbers mean different things depending on whether they are the top or the bottom number. The top number tells us how many beats are in a bar. If our time signature was 4/4 and the top number is 4, that means we would have 4 beats in a bar. If our time signature was 3/4, the top number is a 3, therefore we have 3 beats in that bar. If our time signature was something crazy like 6/4, that means we would have 6 beats in a bar. And if we had 7004 for our time signature, the top number would be 7000 and therefore we would have 7000 beats in that very big bar. Now the bottom number is a little bit harder to remember, so stay with me. If the top number tells us how many beats are in a bar, the bottom number tells us what type of beats they are. It is important we know what type of beats we are using so all of our bars add up properly. The bottom number helps us be specific about how long the beat should go for. If we are not specific about the notes, we don't know how long our beats are supposed to go for. Think about it like this. If I went to the shop and asked for 4 fruit, it's not very clear what type of fruit I want. I could get a combination of anything and it wouldn't make sense, and it could be different every single time. Therefore, if I'm more specific and ask for, say, 4 bananas, I'm definitely going to get 4 bananas every single time. Now, as we are still quite new to reading music, we are only going to be looking at time signatures with a 4 at the bottom for now. When the bottom number is a 4, that means we are working in crotchet or tar beats. If you have a really good memory, you will know that a tar is worth exactly 1 beat. Therefore, if we are working in 4/4, that means we will have 4 1-beat notes. To check that your bar is correct, you should add all of your notes up, and if it comes to 4, you're good to go. So let's do that. We have 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, which equals 4, so that's correct. A very important thing musicians need to do when they play is count. You need to count so that you can keep track of which note you are up to. If we were to count 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 for every single beat, we would get lost very, very easily. That's why we have bar lines to help us separate it, and our time signature tells us when to put the bar line. In 4/4, we have 4 1-beat notes, which means we count up to 4 in every bar, and then when we get to a new bar, we start back at 1, just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Now, because so many people love playing in 4/4, musicians came up with another name for it. Because it is so commonly used, they called it common time. 4/4 and common time are played exactly the same way, except when you play in 4/4, at the beginning of the song, your time signature says 4/4. Whereas when you play in common time, instead of a 4/4, you just get a C at the beginning of your piece. It is very important to remember that although they look different, they are played exactly the same way. So, let's recap. Point number 1. A time signature is something that musicians use to organize their notes, and it is shown at the beginning of the piece. Point number 2. Most time signatures have 2 numbers. The top number tells us how many beats are in a bar, and the bottom number tells us what type of beats they are. Point number 3. 4/4 is the most common time signature, and sometimes we call it common time. If we are using common time, we do not write 4/4, but we just write a C at the beginning of the piece. Very important to remember, 4/4 and common time are exactly the same thing. We just write it differently. And that's it. Hopefully this video helped and everything's starting to make a little bit more sense when we're talking about time signatures. If there was something you didn't quite understand or just needed to hear back again, feel free to rewind and watch any little bits that may help. Make sure you check out my rhythm video where we talk about note lengths and how they work with your time signatures. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you found it interesting and helpful. Have a lovely day, stay safe. I'll see you all soon.